your best requires commitment. We share that dedication to excellence. Introducing new Titleist 917 metals, the standard for complete performance.
Had a putt on 6. I made a nice save on that par 3 to remain 2 under on the day. I felt like I was in really good position. I think tied for the lead at the time. And then I was in between clubs on 7 and mishit it into the bunker. And I hit a really good bunker shot. I was telling him to sit down after I hit it because it was going to fly a couple feet past the hole, but it had a lot of spin. And so it was only going to be 4 to 6 feet away from the hole. I thought it was a really good shot. And it drilled the flagstick and went off the green, which you see from time to time. Really frustrating at that time because that was a big moment to get to 3 under with another 2 really short par 4s in a row right after to potentially, start a really continue a really special round. And instead, I dug deep and made a nice par save there. Got another tough break on 8. It landed, my tee shot, if it had landed a foot further, it would have been a very easy birdie, but it hit right under the lip of the bunker and went down into the downslope. And a shot and 3 putts later, I've now played those holes 1 over instead of what I thought was 1 or 2 under. And I think at the time by 10 and 11, I went back to out of the top 10 and 4 or 5 shots back. But at the same time, knowing that Jeff had to turn on 10 and 11 into the breeze, it was likely that I thought the whole day the number was going to be 13. And so I went to 9 at one point, but thought, hey, there are plenty of birdie holes left. If we sneak 1 on 12, then we've got 2 par 5s, and 18 could be a wedge, and maybe get 15 or 17. So I hit really two really solid shots on 12 and made a nice putt. Played 13 the way it's supposed to be played, and then dug deep, had a good look on 15, and I thought when I missed that one that may have cost me on 15, but made a bomb on 16 and 2 par saves, and 12 ended up being the number.
Mm-hmm. Questions, please. Rob Murray.
Jordan, you haven't really had your best stuff all week. What's the satisfaction like to be sitting there with the trophy?
Yeah, very much so. The beginning of the week, the first couple rounds, it was putting. I had a lot of chances, and I didn't make anything outside 10 feet. And started to just get more comfortable, stop worrying about my stroke, and just try and hit the lines. Michael helped me a lot on the practice green on where I was lined up, was I hitting my lines, and then really on reading these greens. They were getting in my head the first 2 rounds, and to have commitment from both of us, and then in my practice say, okay, I know what that stroke did to hit the ball where I was looking. Let's just do that. Whether it's a perfect stroke or not, it doesn't matter. It was a really, really helpful. But yeah, I felt like I really played well. I felt like I played well this week. I got off with the driver in 3-wood, and putting throughout the week wasn't tip-top shape, but my short game was there. The iron play was solid. Wedge play was solid. So certainly felt like I was playing well enough to be in contention. Just wasn't sure about winning. And then we made the putts at the very end that mattered.
Just one more from me, Jordan. Jeff spoke earlier in the week about having your name on the trophy is fantastic, but the multiple winners on this trophy in particular, right up there in world golf. Your thoughts on the other names that have won this more than once that you now join?
I hadn't thought about that, and I'm not actually aware of who has won it multiple times, but I am aware of who's won it here at Royal Sydney. That's a fantastic list to join. I'm sure it's few and far between on the multiple-time winner. It's great. We love coming here. We thought I had a chance last year on 18 and didn't hit a great putt, and this time I had that same chance with a very similar putt in the playoff and capitalized. So drew back a little on that and said this is our time to close this one out. And I didn't have much confidence in my swing on the last couple holes today in regulation, and was able to calm down in between and said, let's go ahead and prove to ourselves that we can hit clutch shots, swings when it matters. I know I can make putts. Let's have some clutch swings when it matters. It's been a little while. And I was going to hit 3-wood off the tee. Michael talked me into hybrid, and it left me with a good number with a 9-iron, and I hit a 9-iron right at the flagstick that hit just short of where it needed to hit to get really close, but it left me in a great spot to have a mid-range putt and knock it in. Thought that we were still going to go to a playoff after I made it, but then you just never know, and fortunately we closed it out.
Jordan, day one you came in here and you told us that 69 and another 3 would be enough to get you to the title. Are you surprised that so many people got to the 12 under?
No. After the second round, I thought, man, this course seems very scoreable. Plenty of opportunities on those par 5s and short par 4s, but they trick you out. I mean, you're not going to birdie every single one of those holes, even though you almost expect to, because it's so difficult to place the ball off the tee in the perfect location, especially with some crosswinds. We had a bit of crosswinds, and then the wind turns into you. You kind of get every direction out here. So although I still stood on those tees thinking that, I'm not surprised it didn't get way lower, because it's just with where the pins were, the way the wind played a factor on the easier holes, it just made it tougher to capitalize each time. So we hung in there on the tough ones, took advantage when we could.
Darren?
Yeah, Jordan, just getting back to the multiple champions, two-part question. Gary Player won this 7 times, Jack Nicklaus won it 6 times, Greg Norman won it 5 times, a few others. So firstly, how do you feel about that, knowing that those guys did that? And also, can we expect you to continue coming back?
I feel pretty poorly about 2 if those guys have done it that much.
Can we expect you to come back and maybe start making a run at these sort of numbers?
You know, we love coming here. Certainly plan on it. It just depends on. It's hard to tell a year from now, but how can you argue with coming here and gaining the confidence that we've had out of this event? So I certainly plan to. Just don't know what's going to happen 12 months from now. I've cut out a lot of overseas travel this year, but we still came here because that's how important this event is to us. And I haven't gone anywhere else. So I guess the Bahamas in 2 weeks counts, but that doesn't really count. So even if overseas travel is trimmed down, we still like coming here and plan to. It's just I certainly can't say yes or no right this second. I feel bad. Are y'all okay just standing here in the background?
They're not real. They're all like
Jordan, you've had great support all week, and even today when there was a heap of Aussies on the leaderboard there, you were still getting great roars. Just a word on the local fans down here?
Yeah, fantastic. Aussie fans are unique, one of a kind. They're a lot of fun to be around. Certainly love their own, but we feel they've embraced us as one of their own, and we love that. So, I mean, everybody just, I think, wanted just a fantastic finish, and fortunately it was. Few people probably wanted it to go back in Aussie hands. Matt Jones wasn't here to reclaim it this year, and we're happy to take it in his absence. And, you know, I mean, yeah, just to speak to the fans, they were very respectful, very knowledgeable, but also kind of the right amount of rowdy.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just join me in. Oh,
Just
one more.
Sorry, you spoke before the week, obviously, of you're hoping to sort of win this and use it as a springboard like you did a couple of years ago. So obviously, last year, phenomenal. What can we expect from you this year, and what do you hope to sort of continue on with this?
I hope to take this into a couple weeks from now, improve on areas that need improvement, and sustain what was solid. From there, then address what the goals are for the next year. I'm not exactly sure yet. That's normally what we do in the month of December, is figure out what we're looking forward to in 2017. But I think a lot can be drawn back on 2014 into 15. So it's really nice to, again, the way we played the playoff, I think is going to do wonders for me. I'd been in a little bit of a stall hitting the shots when they mattered. Colonial, I saved myself with a lot of putts. In our last worldwide win, to hit those 2 shots in there right where I wanted to hit them, and then to make the putt with it is really big going forward, and it's something I can draw on all next year, is look back on the way this one was finished out.
Mark?
John, were you with Annie on the bridge?
Yeah, and Michael and Ellie.
How was it up there?
Beautiful. We went on the express in the lower arch and then got to go up to the top. Once you hit the middle, it was... The bridge itself is incredible, but the views You know, and we had a fantastic guide. Matt was our guide, and he gave us some great history on Australia and the bridge in general, but learned a lot. It's probably my favorite city that I've ever traveled to. So to hear that kind of history, I'm kind of a geography nut as well. So it was really interesting and well worth it.
Last question, please.
Jordan, you talked about those clutch swings towards the end of the round today. Does that bury further what happened at the Masters back in?
Yeah, probably. It's kind of
forward,
old news,
forward.
you know. I mean, until I get back there again, I'm sure it'll come back to me again there. I'll get plenty of questions about it then. But yeah, I mean, that certainly was not even anywhere. I wouldn't have even thought about it until you mentioned it. No, in all
But what I mean is that
seriousness,
those clutch swings.
Yes,
now that you
that's-
know.
Yeah, I still had clutch
They're there.
swings. I just kind of had one bad one, but I didn't hit the ball well at all that week, and was still leading by 4 or 5 shots with 9 holes to go. And I didn't hit the ball well at all. So it was actually going back before that. The best I ever hit it was not Hawaii this past year, where we kind of ran away with it. It was actually the week that I played after the Australian Open in 2014, Tigers event. I hit the ball well here, just played a fantastic final round. It went on and took kind of that victory into my best ball striking week I've ever had as a golfer at a Tigers event in Orlando when it was at Isleworth. And I hope to do the same here. But to answer your question, it's been kind of something that it's very difficult to do. I mean, you can't practice for being very nervous. You know, you can't get on the range and say, okay, get nervous, and then try. You know, it doesn't work that way. It just comes through experience. And it just seemed that my tendencies were always to get underneath the ball and miss it right. And so I just committed to my swings the last couple times today in that playoff. And that is tough to do when left's trouble, because you think you're going to hit it left. It's uncomfortable. But they went right on line. Now I know that, and I think that's going to do wonders going forward. It's easier when you're 5 or 6 up coming into the last few holes. You can trust anything. There's no nerves. You've already closed it out. But it's moments like today where you can really take it going forward.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Please
guys.
remain seated, and we're going to leave now. Thank you. We hope you come back.